I definitely have it for you.
But isn't like orange juice, it's half a cup or something?
Yeah.
Serving and very high carbs. So.
That's the other thing, is to think about serving sizes, and that's a tough thing to get a handle on. And we're not going to delve into that too much tonight. Yeah. Now, I just quick wanted to talk about bread, because this is another trick that happens a lot. A serving size of bread almost always is one slice. So if you're like most people, I don't know about you, but when I make a sandwich, I use 2 pieces of bread. So when you look on the label, it will say 1 slice. But if you look quick, it only says 80. So then you're like, yay, only 80. No, because now you got to do your math again, right? And if you're not thinking. Now, you have to look close on all bread, because just because this says split wheat, and you think, I'm having wheat bread. Oh, so you guys are too smart. You got to look close. Because, right, you think, oh, these are disgusting. Who would eat these? These are 100% wheat.
Because they're whole wheat.
Whole wheat, okay?
Right?
This is whole wheat. And you wouldn't think it to look at it, right? Because it doesn't say anywhere, right, really? Right, it just says bagels and nothing exciting. You gotta look, okay?
How much is a serving of a bagel?
A serving of a bagel, they've actually, Lenders has actually kind of gone on board with the whole thing. 1 bagel.
How many calories?
210. All right? So, ready for the fingers though? I can't promise you anything. Oh, I lied. Nope, I didn't lie. A 1-finger food right here. Okay? So, you gotta look with the breads, because it's really tricky. If you don't have time to look, right? If you're like in a flash and you need bread and you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't have time to look. In general, dark is better, all right? So if you're in a rush and you're in the store and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to look, grab something really dark, all right? So like pumpernickel, rye, something like that, because dark is generally better.
Some of them have a ton of calories.
So bread is always going to be a lot of
Some
calories.
of those darker
They
breads
do, yeah.
have a lot of sugar.
They do, but if, like I said, if you don't have time to look, remember we should always be following our, look at the label, do the whole thing, because this guy's all tricky, okay?
Now, when you get into bread, what about the high fructose corn syrup and the other corn syrup and all the other stuff?
Right. The whole high fructose corn syrup thing, there's been a massive debate on that. Your body does react a little differently to it. It is not natural. As far as like you're going to have all these weird problems and stuff from it, it's not that typical that happens. It happens to some people. Obviously, things happen to different people. But it is a non-natural sugar, obviously. But, you know, would I try to limit it? Yeah. I mean, I'd rather see you eat a more natural sugar. But
I'm sure you wouldn't put it in your sugar.
in your regular bread, you're not going to go find it and be like, here's some high fructose corn syrup. You're going to put in regular sugar, right? If you're going to make bread, you're going to put sugar in it. You're going to put in regular sugar, brown sugar, whatever kind of sugar you're using. Same goes with all the substitutes. I'm not a big, this is my personal opinion, sorry. I'm not a big fan of using a ton of substitutes. If you're going to use sugar, use sugar. If you're going to use butter. Just limit. But that's my personal.
Have you get into like pure cane sugar, is that better for you than processed sugar?
That's up to you. A lot of that's cost and how much processing has been done, but sugar's sugar. Your body reacts the same way for that kind of sugar versus, you know, like you were talking about fruit sugar or something.
So what's stevia?
Stevia just comes from a plant, and it's just a plant sugar, and it's been the latest new thing. Kind of like those of us that are a little bit older, remember when aspartame came out, and that was the latest and greatest, and then NutraSweet came out, and that was the latest and greatest. And then everybody says, oh my gosh, this is terrible, and this is just the latest and greatest thing. It's just sugar from another plant.
But it's not a sugar substitute.
It's not a sugar substitute. They're just saying it's kind of like sugar cane, but just from stevia.
It's very sweet.
It's very sweet. You don't have to use as much. Cost is very prohibitive. So I don't know if anybody's looked at that cost per pound versus sugar. It's very different. Like to get a thing of stevia is like, you'll get this, and it'll be like $6, $7, $8 versus You know, but again, your body's gonna react the same way. You know, one of the things I tell my clients, calories in have to go out. You wanna lose weight, calories gotta go somewhere. So whether it's stevia, whether it's sugar, whatever it is. All right, my man here's been waiting to hear about these. All right, you ready?
Well, that's not a big surprise.
They're a big old zero. Right?
It's not negative?
No,
Oh,
just a big old zero.
See, that's no worse than these guys.
Exactly.
Well, what are they, Pringles? They're not greasy though, right?
They're not as greasy.
They're baked.
They're baked, but they're not really like potato chips, I don't think.
No,
I think they're like rehydrated potatoes, right?
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to talk to you about with this, because you guys have all eaten this before, this still has food in it. This is for one of these, right? Because we've all had this box before. So one box of this.
What is that,
Mac and cheese, yeah, Kraft mac and cheese. This is for, sorry.
It has cheese in it.
Girl, you're like the healthiest eater ever. You should be up here giving a presentation.
But I don't like, for some reason, I
No
don't.
processed food?
So,
So now, this is a staple of college eating. So this is for family, this is serves 4. So their intention was for 4 people to have this. That, see, most people laugh.
my kid can.
Eat one.
It expands.
One of them is down.
Yeah. So, yeah, so then it's 310 calories, right? So then again, you gotta multiply by 4, so then
Right.
people give up, right? Because now it's a weird number, so now we give up because you're like 310 times 4 too hard. And then, you know, so we give up, and so that's too hard.
So
So,
those people have more problems than we can fix.
right, so it's really hard, so done, and now, we got, and for 4,
1,200 calories in one sitting.
right, 1,200 calories in one
And
sitting,
then like a 2,000
Right.
calorie diet.
and 40 grams of fat. Right, we don't think about that. Now, the reason I brought that up before I show you this cool stuff is I like to show. So, this is what you're supposed to eat a whole day of fat. So, this is about 47 grams of fat. I eat this whole box, that's my whole day's worth of fat. Look at it. It doesn't even move. Now, why do I care? This is my heart. This is a replica of your heart. That's your whole heart filled with fat. That's disgusting. Right, so those of you that are like, I burn it off, I exercise it off. You can't exercise away a whole fat tube. That's why, has anybody heard you can't outrun the fork? Has anybody heard that before?
No.
Right, so that's why that happens, okay?
That's a good demo.
Yeah, and then, you can hold those in a second, I just don't want to drop anything. This one is just a piece of grilled chicken, okay? Like you marinated grilled chicken and put it on the grill or something like that. You can't get rid of fat, you know, all the way. This one, anybody got a guess? Now, besides Miss Healthy Eater here, probably everybody's eaten this. It's a fast food item. It's not a hamburger. French fries. This is the kitty French fries.
Wow.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? The little package that you get like
The
5?
small one?
Yeah, where you get like 5 French fries.
Yeah. Wow.
Imagine what the jumbo French fry looks like. Isn't that disturbing? And you munch them right down, and you don't feel full, and then you go munch more stuff down, okay? Fat's satisfying for a minute, but it's not super satisfying.
Potatoes don't have, it's what they add to it.
Bingo.
Now, the chicken breast, was that skinless?
This was skinless, boneless, all that fun stuff, okay? So, and you can see there's like hardly anything in there. That's why people push eating chicken all the time, right? Post heart attacks, post stuff like that. I don't know if anybody's been. Fish is even less depending on the type of fish, because you know, if you've got super oily fish, it's gonna have a little bit more, but not a ton.
Some
It
of the
would be
ones that
so
are
hard.
the omega-3s.
Right, but that's worth it.
So fats are any kind of oil, olive oil, canola, any other good oil?
Yeah, but they're gonna, you get bang for your buck. That's the way I look at it, so it depends on what, you know, because fat like this, it's not going anywhere, you know? That kind of fat is gonna actually promote things in your body and do its job, because fat has a zillion jobs in your body. One of the big ones, and no one ever talks about it, is making cells. If you have no cells, you have no you. I mean, literally, you don't have a you, right? Cell is you. And so, you have to have fats. And so, but we don't need this kind
But
of.
you're trying to choose the healthier.
Right, and that's what we're talking about, omega-3s, it's, you know, the unsaturated fats, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Now this, I'm hoping that we're not, your son might be drinking these kind of things. Sports drinks, vitamin waters, all that kind of stuff, it's just sugar. Now, I didn't say at the beginning, because I always forget, like I told you, I just get so excited. I'm a triathlete, I don't drink these after I run a race. I don't need it. There's no need for it. I didn't burn that much off. I have enough reserves. I'm not starving and dying, okay? So we don't need that much sugar. That's crazy. Gatorade, if you know the story behind Gatorade, was developed for who? Anybody know? Football players in the Florida Gators, because they were sweating in the humidity and they kept passing out. We live in New England. We don't have 90% humidity most of the time, right? So we're not going to have
So
that.
you're not losing, you're not losing all of that.
You're not losing all that, so you don't need it. And so this is just calories coming in that you just don't need. And then, so whatever you just did, right? You worked out, you're like, oh, I feel so good. You just put all that right back in. Okay. Best recovery drink, anybody know? Those of you that work out? Water's awesome. If you're really working out hard, right? You're like, ooh, you pushed it hard. Man, you're sweating, your shirt is stuck to you. It's gross. It's like, man, you need a shower right now. It's so disgusting.
Chocolate milk?
She's my girl right here. Chocolate milk.
Why?
It is full of carbohydrates, and then it's going to help you replenish what you need. And it also, most chocolate milk, is full of, I should say full, has caffeine in it, which is going to relax some of your muscles. And then you're going to like not cramp and
The
get
chocolate
some-
milk because of the caffeine.
Doesn't have a ton, because most of our, I mean, as we all know, there's no chocolate cows, so it's all commercialized, you know, so then it's gonna make it that way. Okay, so I'll send these around. I wouldn't advise sticking your fingers down there, so, you know, for obvious reasons.
So if you were gonna make macaroni and cheese from scratch,
Yes, ma'am.
that's still going to have a lot of calories,
Yeah,
but perhaps not all the other
yeah,
basic
chemicals,
ingredients.
yeah. And that's what,
Mary.
it all depends on what you wanna do. So you can put anything you want, and whatever you want. I mean, so you can, you
Well,
know,
say macaroni, you've got
cheese,
and cheese is probably
the biggest calorie count. Because one slice of cheese, like the real serving of cheese, is gonna be 110 calories,
What
roughly.
about hard cheese?
Yeah.
Like your block cheese.
Yeah, a whole slice of block cheese is probably gonna be, you know, 500 calories-ish.
This is the chicken, it's the fries.
Right.
That's the whole day.
That's the whole, that's the mac and cheese.
No, that's your whole day, yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
like
the whole day.
Yeah, that's your whole day. Or a whole bucket of mac
Yeah,
and
that's
cheese.
All right, so
Or you
I
can
have
use
the small fries and the chicken.
and a whole bucket of mac and cheese. It's out of control. All right, so now that you're all depressed, what on earth do you eat? Oh my gosh, I can't eat anything, right? It's depressing. Oh my gosh, it's just horrible.
Have you ever looked into some of the recovery drinks that the weightlifting community uses?
Yeah. A lot of that, it depends on what they're buying, but a lot of it is just, I can't speak for all of them.
Sure,
But a lot of them are potato and milk starches. So
So
you
they're
pay,
inside with some sort of flavoring
Right.
perhaps, because potato and milk really
don't taste good together, unless they're mashed and salted. So, yeah, so you're paying an awful lot of money for milk starch and potato starch.
Are you familiar with something I think is called smart water? It doesn't
Yeah.
have any sugar in it,
Yeah,
but it has electrolytes.
yeah, yeah. That's good if you're a really a sweaty worker-outer. They call them, you know, so when you are done working out, sometimes, you can know two ways if you got that. You'll actually see a sheen on people. Or if you got pets, if they're really all over you after, because they're licking the salt off you. So then you might be a really sweaty worker out, you know, so afterwards. Some people sweat like crazy, other people don't. So it really, you know, depends. So these are some of your superpower foods. So when you're like, what's going to be like 5s and 6s and, you know, 4, 5s and 6s, these are it. So this is where to head, okay? So that's the deal. Whole milk, you gotta be careful because there's a lot of fat and calories. Same with cheese. but like I said, you get a little bang for your buck out of those, all right? Because there's a lot of calcium, there's a lot of stuff like that. I'm a big proponent of, if you can switch over to like almond milk, or soy milk, I'm a super big proponent of that because you get way more out of that. You'll get almost double your calcium and you'll get, you know, it's just super powerful.
I'd like to know, how can, they call it almond milk.
Yeah.
How do you make milk out of almond?
Yeah, I've seen that commercial.
How is that made?
I'm pretty sure they just express stuff out of the switzerland.
I
Yeah,
think you could throw a bunch of almonds in the Vitamix.
yeah. it's
Grind them and
squished.
grind them and grind them, and then you dump it out into like a cheesecloth
Yeah.
type thing.
And it's
you
just squished.
So there's
squeeze all the
absolutely
milk out.
no true milk.
You know,
There's no
yeah,
cow
no,
milk.
Right.
oh, there's no
like a
cow
coconut
involved.
that you pop on.
Yeah, there's
It
no,
tastes good?
it's pretty good. I've tried, I gotta be honest, I've tried the chocolate, because you know, that's where my vein goes. And I really liked it. So the chocolate, I've tried chocolate, and I was just in the store today, there's new, coconut chocolate milk.
There's a coconut almond milk.
And then, because like I said, I got this thing for the chocolate. And then there was a cashew chocolate milk that I was like, oh. So that, you know, so that's all this stuff. And again, they're just squeezing these things till something comes out.
Well,
I do drink soy milk, I've been drinking soy milk for a long time.
Yeah,
And I look, the label and clearly says non-dairy beverage.
Yeah.
Fully agree with what you previously said in terms of that there's no milk.
yeah. Because that's been the big push for people that are, you know, lactose free for whatever reason, allergies or whatever.
So what about like 2% milk rather than the
Yeah,
whole?
that's fine. Yeah, or skim is fine. It's, you know, there's no reason that you can't have that instead.
Because I was interested because of the fat content of the whole milk.
Yeah. Like I said, I would honestly push you to try the other because it, especially as we age, as ladies in particular, you know, we're super at risk of the osteoporosis, osteopenia, and it's a really big risk. And so to get as much calcium as you can, the other milks have so much more.
Does that help alleviate arthritis? Or the pains associated?
Not necessarily, but there are foods that can help with that, you know, so, but yeah, so it's kind of interesting.
So is this listed on the handout?
I think I put some of the stuff in there. Quinoa and chia seeds are like power foods, and I think I talked about them, but if you haven't played with those yet, you need to. So smoothies are a great way to add stuff in that you're not super familiar with because you can hide it. And don't think smoothies have to always be in the morning. It's a great snack, okay? And I'm going to talk about why these are so awesome. Has anybody ever eaten chia seeds or any of that yet, or quinoa? All right, because they're a little weird. All right, so these are the two amazing things I was telling you about, the power greens. So they're not new. They actually go way back to like the, you know, Aztec times and things like that. Chia seeds, I mean, this is why you want to eat a chia seed. I mean, they're weird looking. They will look like birdseed if you've never seen them before, all right? They have a crunch. If you just put them on something, like say you put them in pudding, you are gonna know they're there, okay? You're not gonna be like, I'm just magically eating this nothing. No, you're gonna know chia seed's there if you just fling it in pudding, okay? But you can't, I mean, my gosh, this is huge. It is loaded with so much protein that most people, when they start eating chia seeds, they notice they don't have much hunger anymore. All right, it's just craziness. It also is gonna help, like I was saying, with building up bone mass.
So what's each serving of chia seeds?
Well, on most of the labels, it'll say 2 tablespoons. That is nuts. I would say put in like a sprinkle, a spritz, and you will get a ton of bang for your buck. But 2 tablespoons is what the general thing is, and that's like 140 calories. It's a ton of calories.
It's a ton of cheese.
It's a ton. That's what I'm saying. You'll be like,
I have it sometimes mixed with yogurt and berries
yeah,
for breakfast, and you know, like 1 tablespoon is a whole lot.
yeah. So I'm like 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. I use them. I would be like, You'd be picking chia seeds out all day. You'd be like, yeah, it'd be bad. So that's why I'm like, I literally like, you know when you see the fancy chefs going like that? I mean, seriously, that's what
What
you have to do.
department do you buy chia seeds in?
I'm trying to think where I've generally seen them. Natural food section in the fancier stores. I'm trying to think where I've seen them.
Like a market basket.
In Market Basket, I'm trying to think where I've seen them.
That's kind of easy,
I think in the grain section, like in the pasta section.
Okay.
Yeah, in that
And
aisle.
what exactly
That's
do
in the
you,
home.
does it have a taste? Do they have a taste?
Not really.
So what do you
Well,
put
that's
them on?
I put them in
I mean, is it
anything.
something I put on my cereal?
Yeah, yep.
Oh.
You can put them in anything. They are black, so they will stand out. So if you're trying to hide it and trick somebody, it's not gonna happen. Okay? All
Put
right?
it in your smoothie.
Yeah.
With your chocolate almond.
Yeah. But
You
yeah.
could bake it in your chocolate cake.
Yeah, seriously, no one's gonna know it's something like that. Spaghetti sauce, perfect place to put it. Smoothies, if you put it in a smoothie, there will be a little bit, unless you're used to having like a thicker smoothie, there's gonna be a little bit of, like a little bit of crunch in there.
Can you
but-
take them and like try to grind
I
them a
should
little
have
bit more
nine. If
powdery?
you have a Vitamix, like some people have Vitamixes, if you've got a Vitamix, this will grind them right up. If you don't, if you have like a magic bullet thing and it's like a little less powerful, it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna
Vitamix is
be.
the way to go.
Yeah, if you've got the Vitamix, you're all set. It's gonna right up.
What about flax seeds?
Flax seeds.
Oh, yeah, flax seeds. They're good. It's just not as awesome. It's kind of like their runner-up. They're holding the flowers where they got the crown. Yeah.
I know like job lots, they have a section of the, like the healthy flowers, market basket, and they have chia there.
Yeah.
I think it's like $2, $2.
Yeah. It's huge bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now quinoa is another one that's just super powerful. Those of you that are dealing with like diabetes stuff, high sugars, all that, this is your deal. And the other thing for those of you that are vegetarian/vegan or trying, this is your protein. So you can get all your essential amino acids. So when people are like, are you getting all your protein? You can be like, yes, because I'm eating quinoa. And then everybody can leave you alone because you got the quinoa. Quinoa, if you've never had it, anybody had quinoa? It's a little weird at first.
I heard on TV and I tried it and it does improve it if you toast it in a pan on the stove before you cook it.
Yeah.
It helps the flavor.
Yeah, because it's a grain. It looks, when it's cooked down a little bit, it kind of looks like little balls or little, people call them fish eggs. It almost looks like little fish eggs. And it's got a crunch. And the big mistake a lot of people make is they don't rinse it. Quinoa, if you're buying it in the natural package and it's not like ready to go, like if you're not buying it like one of these things, you have to rinse it because it has a natural coating on it, a natural thing that it comes in, and it'll make it really slimy. And so then you're gonna end up with like this slimy grain, and it's disgusting. So as long as you rinse it,
Does the package say?
oh, yep, it says right on there, rinse, but that, you have to, follow directions. So you rinse it and then cook it, and you cook it pretty much similar to rice. And so it's pretty easy to do like you would rice, and you're good to go.
Mix it up with some meat or
And you can
something.
cook it with like, what's really become popular with quinoa now is cooking it like with, like you would rice and like making like, say like a quinoa pasta, quinoa this and quinoa, and then mixing it with some protein source like salmon or chicken or shrimp or something like that. It's become super popular. Quinoa's like the go-to now. And then really, really try to get your 6 to 8 servings of veggies a day. You're supposed to eat 6 to 8 servings of veggies a day. Most people are getting 2 if we're lucky. Right? A serving of a veggie it is.
Okay, it's corn and veggie.
Corn is not a veggie.
Uh-huh.
So a veggie, corn is considered a starch. Same with potato, with the exception of our awesome
Sweet potatoes.
sweet potato. So a cup of everything is considered a serving. A cup. So it's pretty small. And a real cup, 8 ounces, right? A cup. And then anything you can't measure starts getting wacky. So like an apple is about the size of your fist. So those giant apples that you get that are the size of your face, you gotta just guesstimate, okay? So you gotta think how many fists are in there, right? Is it like 7, is it 10, is it, whatever. A banana is generally 2. Oranges are generally, again, the size of your fist. Those baby ones, you know, the little teenies, those ones are usually a half, all right? So, and then pretty much everything else, you know, you measure by the cup.
Is salad greens a cup or something?
Yeah, with the exception of iceberg, which they generally don't count because it's just water. Same deal with celery. You have to eat an awful lot of celery to make that count. So most of us aren't going to eat, you know, the entire bunch of celery. You can. But yeah, so if that's your deal, that's your deal. So it's really, so people like, I'm starving, I'm hungry. This is one of the deals. One of the big things that I've been trying to push myself to do, because I don't know if you're like me, I really like my coffee. And we all know that if you're like me, sometimes you like your coffee with a little something in there, and that's not so good. And so there's been a big research study that came out that people that eat more apples are less dependent on their coffee. So, something to try.
Say that again?
People that eat more apples become less dependent on their coffee.
And the reason for that is?
There's chemicals in the apple that mimic that. Yeah, isn't that funny? So something to try. I gotta tell you, I've been trying now for a couple weeks, and there's a couple days now that I went without, and I didn't feel terrible. You know, normally if you go without your coffee, we all know how that goes. It's an ugly scene.
What are you using to replace the caffeine in the coffee?
Nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
the apple. Yeah. I was just dunking the apple.
Just
One apple.
Just one apple. And there was no research on which flavor variety was better. So if you like, you know, I don't know, Red Delicious or Macintosh or Pink Lady or whoever. And living in New England, we have plenty of apples to go around. So there's no reason why you can't. So something to think about in terms of what you're doing. I think that's my last slide. No, bye-bye. All right, so my big thing about all food is I don't want you to go home thinking that that food is something that you gotta punish or, you know, yell at or be like, oh my gosh, I can't eat that. If you want to have cake, by all means, have cake. You know, just make the healthiest choice of having cake. Does that make sense? Versus not eating it at all. Because here's what happens if you start saying, I can never have that again. Then this is what's gonna happen. Right? You're going to binge and go crazy, and then it's going to be a disaster. So if you make the healthiest choices possible, and you say, I want to eat what I want to eat, but I'm going to make it the best choice possible, then you're not going to end up binging. And food is something that you're going to have to live with the rest of your life, and so you can't just say, oh, well, whatever. And you've got to make the choices that are going to work for you. And don't be afraid to ask people for help. A lot of people are out there that can help you, and I'm included, to say what's going on. And there's tons that you can eat. I mean, if I go back to the other slide, you could see that it wasn't a limited list. You weren't going to starve to death, okay? So it wasn't like, you can only have this and the bagels. Sorry. And everything else is off limits. Good luck. Enjoy your life.
I read somewhere, and it works for me if if something's being offered to you, after a while, if you, instead of saying, I can't eat that, you say, I don't eat that.
Yeah.
It changes your
Yeah.
way of thinking.
That's a
about it.
great way of saying it. Yeah, I don't eat that. Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you're not denying yourself, you're saying, I know that's, it's
Yeah.
not healthy and I don't eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy to do that either.
Right.
It's not
Especially-
after a while,
Yeah.
you sort of train yourself
Right.
not to.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy to put in your head to say it
That's
that
not
way.
original, I read it somewhere.
That's neat. I just wanted to show you one more thing. It's nothing too exciting. This is just a model of the digestive system, but I'd like to show this because I think we forget how small our tummy is. So this is how big your actual stomach is. So when you eat like a foot-long sub, the whole pizza, we've all been there. Stop acting like you've never done it. Well, with the exception of this one out front, she might not have.
I
She's
call
a
it the
healthy
80-20
eater.
rule, you know that one?
Yes, the 80-20 rule. But yeah, sometimes I wonder, how did it fit in there? you know, because this is it for the average person, all right? Because we all know some people are really petite, some people are really big, but for the average person, this is it. And so to fit that big sandwich in there or something like that, how does it fit in there? You know, so obviously we all know how it fits in there. What happens? You start expanding and then you start feeling bloated and then you gotta go lay down, or worse still, you're like, oh man, I gotta undo the belt. This is ugly. Who's driving home? I can't make it. All right, so that's what's happening, and that's not good. The more you do that, this will literally expand out, all right, and get bigger, and then that's gonna make you feel like you're what all the time? Hungry all the time, all right? So if you're constantly doing that, so my last takeaway for you is every time after you eat, you should leave the table still feeling like you could eat something else. So if you leave the table feeling still like mega full and like, you way overate, all right? So generally what I tell people is you should still feel like you should be able to eat a giant piece of pie with olive oil. And if you don't feel that way, you overate. Because how big is a giant piece of pie with olive oil?
Is that the intestine?
Okay, yeah, so this would be, hold on, I'll show you. It's long. Here, you can be my buddy. This would be your esophagus and your tongue. So, ooh, watch the stomach, it's coming at you. All the way here, now that we have camera, all the way here is your small intestine. It's really larger though, in real life it's like that big. I'm coming back, Matt, don't worry. And then over here would be your large intestine, and that's even larger still, it's like this. And remember, large intestine goes up, around, and down, okay? So this is all tangled in here, like a dish. In real life, it shouldn't be tangled like that, that's a medical emergency. And then, that's what's coming up like that. Remember, if you had something hanging like that, that's a hernia, that's a problem.
It's just a very long tube.
It's just a super long tube. Okay, so that's it. So it's pretty easy, but yeah, I was amazed how small your tube is. And remember, your tummy's way up high, so when you're like, oh, I have a tummy ache, you have an intestine ache because you ate something you shouldn't have eaten. All right, who's got questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know, it seems that they use soy
Yeah.
in everything.
Yeah.
What's the reason for it? Is there a benefit?
It's cheap, and it takes whatever I have and makes it double. So if I have a pound of hamburger, now I've got 2 pounds of hamburger. There's nothing really wrong with soy. It's got a lot of benefits to it. You know, it's pretty powerful. So there's been some debate about people loading up on soy, especially with breast issues. But if that's not an issue for your family, I really wouldn't be super concerned.
Actually, as supplements for people, I think I know that.
Yeah,
It's not the food, because countries that eat a lot of
right.
soy don't have.
Same issues that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, it's super cheap, and that's why you'll see, like, say I wanted to make 2 pounds of cake mix, I could use a pound of the real stuff. Now I've got a pound of soy. I wouldn't do that with cake mix because it doesn't make sense, but you get the idea. So that's the deal there. So it's relatively, like I said, it happens a lot, and you see it more and more and more in commercialized foods. Yes, ma'am?
What about canola oil? Because I used to use it because I thought it was healthier than vegetable, and then I found out that there's not such a thing as canola plants. And I was like, what am I using here?
Yeah, anything, I mean, in terms of liquids, you're pretty much equal unless you're talking olive oil. So once you get out of the olive oil family, they're pretty much all equal in terms of their healthiness factor. So, and then in terms of the, you know, I'm talking extra virgin olive oil and this, and it's expressed 29 million times, that's personal preference. So that depends on how many times you want, how much you want to pay and all that kind of stuff. So if you want all that, it really doesn't matter. So olive oil is generally considered the healthiest. And then after that, but those of you that have ever tried to do certain things, like if you want to bake with olive oil, it's not going to happen. So there's got to be, you know, but all the rest kind of turn into.
Aren't there some bad oil stuff?
Yeah, but most of them are, you know, sunflower oil and stuff like that.
Coconut or?
Yeah, but you can't usually, some of those it's hard to buy commercially.
No, but it's like when you read it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think she needs to like cook with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, generally those are hard to buy like at the store. Yeah, you know, you can buy those commercially, but it's harder to get at the store. You know, you're gonna get, you know, traditional vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, and all those typically work out to be the same.
What about avocado oil?
Avocado oil is good. Yeah, I mean, avocados have gotten a bad rap for a long time as being,
Long time?
yeah, as being the weird, unhealthy, saturated fat, and they're not. They're awesome. And so yeah, so
It's a good fat.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, so
But Mary asked in the box, which the bad ones
oh,
are.
the oils on your box when you're looking, like this one's gonna have it.
Hydrogenated.
Yep, anything that says hydrogenated. So be forewarned of that. And by law now, they have to list trans fat. If you see anything with trans fat, that's just a no-go right off. Because trans fat means that they took a liquid fat and turned it into a solid fat, chemically. And so you want to run away from that stuff.
That's stabilized?
Trans fat, no, it's just a way of like, it's a way of making things easier to cook with and work with.
What do you find it in now? Cookies or?
Yeah,
wraps
baked
or-
goods.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of places are going trans fat free because there's such pushback, like I told you
Yeah.
before, there's pushback that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. But you gotta be careful because a lot of things were always trans fat free anyway. Like Cheerios was really big to go, we're trans fat free, well, I would hope so, because you shouldn't have that and they're your wheat products. So you should have never had that stuff in
They
there.
used to do a lot of French fries and stuff in the trans fats,
Yeah.
and then
It's
McDonald's and all them stuff,
Yeah.
and they go away from it.
Yeah, yeah.
The process changes some fat, I don't know what they start with, from a liquid to a solid.
Yeah, so it's creepy.
Hydrogen.
Yeah.
But it's not good for your body.
No, that's the one that they've like definitely found issues with, like causing cancers and that kind of stuff, and so that's why when you see that on the label, that's a no-go. So anything that's hydrogenated, and they can hydrogenate anything, so they can, you know, the corn oil, the whatever. It's usually corn oil because that's the cheapest. So, and then they